Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. We have people all over the world watching Healing Together through the holidays. My doggies are coming running. They hear me talking. They're a little upset with mama for being so busy. Always busy, but never for so many hours straight without giving them love and playtime. I'm Sam Ruth, for anyone who does not know me. It is National Grief Awareness Week. I want to talk about, first of all, I will tell you that you can all catch the event live on the Zoom link. You can still register. I will share the link, but you can watch through that Zoom link. The event is sent to you through Eventbrite. It is emailed to you every day with the lineup of speakers and a link to the library. But the Zoom link only works during the hours of the event. Today, that is from 10 a.m. Mountain Time to 5 p.m. After those hours, you can go to the library, which is in the email. And if you are struggling with that, I understand grief brain. I get it. Reach out. I will help you and send it to you personally and walk you through it. But you can go to the library and watch anything recorded. Give us a little bit of grace and patience. Everyone's in different time zones. So yesterday's may or may not be there yet. It will be there sometime today. And I am having it reorganized and labeled so that you can understand where everything is a little bit better. Grief is real. It doesn't end, and it affects things like looking things up on a library. So if you've been having a hard time, please don't be upset with yourself. Be patient. I get it. I couldn't handle, I still don't handle technology all that great, but I certainly couldn't handle it well at all in the beginning after losing Jim. This event is in honor of National Grief Awareness Week that many, many, many people and organizations still don't know about. It's become much more than that. Healing Together through the holidays. National Grief Awareness Week is between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So many people are struggling with so many things. But it's turned into more. I have created a calendar. Grief Hab has created a calendar with all awareness dates that the world needs to be talking about. The event went from virtual to live to virtual and live to virtual because people are struggling getting out of bed, and people are struggling talking about grief and thinking about being in a room with other people talking about grief. And so many, many people are watching at midnight in bed and thanking me for having this available at midnight for them to watch in bed. So again, if you're struggling getting to the library, reach out. I will help you. I want to talk about some of the things that are happening in the real world, real time of the grief and loss conversations, what my work is, why I do what I do, what my clients are going through when the events end. Okay. This conversation is not just a job for me. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's who I am and what I did before I lost Jim. Many of us in this world of serving did this before our loss and trauma, and then it hit us. Many of us were hit by loss and trauma and turned it into something and some way of serving to heal and get through that. Um, but I've always done this. I've worked with at-risk teens and teens who have dealt with addiction and overdose and thoughts of suicide and death by suicide. And so the surviving communities. And so that is my world. I now, of course, as a widow, work with other widows. I work with people in the surviving community and help people pick up the pieces, right? What we go through after loss. And so at the end of my day of giving this support and the resources and the tools to everyone struggling through the holidays, because they're not easy for any of us, I have people real time, real life. I have a 14-year-old who has a friend who did attempt to end her life, who we are dealing with what that is like. I have a 17-year-old dealing with serious bullying. It happened last year, but the school hasn't done enough, if anything, to put things in place to protect. We all know that bullying happens when people aren't looking. We know that there are ways to harm, to say words, to do things when the people who are supposed to protect us aren't there. So there are things happening this year, even though the actual events that caused some trauma took place last year. So we have that going on, that is affecting health and mood and relationships, all invisible things. Health sometimes can be visible, but all things that are a part of trauma and losses that happen long after. Grief never ends. It has other things that go with it that are also invisible and people don't know about unless we talk about them. And if you don't have someone in your corner to reach out to and to help you speak up and stand up, and even when you do, even when you have parents standing up with you and for you, sometimes the organization isn't doing what needs to be done. And it takes bringing in an advocate, a professional who knows certain words and certain ways to navigate systems. So I have someone who already has experienced multiple losses to lose her job this week and reach out and need to deal with that. In my group last night, after many of the people are watching these speakers, we are talking about getting through the holidays. We've already been through some, but how are we going to get through the days leading up to Christmas, recovering from it, and then go right into New Year's? How are we going to do that with people who we thought might be there, family members we thought might be there? These are conversations that I have every single day. This is the world of grief and loss that's invisible. That's why I created Healing Together Through the Holidays. This is the first annual, and I'm learning as I do that people are so, so grateful to have a virtual opportunity, not only during the hours of the event, but anytime they want, at 3 a.m., at 3 p.m., at next week. And so I want to remind you again that this will be starting in 19 minutes. You can click the Zoom link in your Eventbrite ticket in the email that you're getting every day with the speaker. It's the same Zoom link every day, by the way. So you can save it, use it today, tomorrow, during the talks. When the talks end, you can go to the library. If you're struggling with any of this, grief is real. It affects our brain. I couldn't handle technology. My brother was doing so many things across the country in Michigan for me. So if you need support with that, please reach out. That's what I'm here for. I can't help you now while I'm doing this, but I will absolutely respond when the event ends. Give me a little bit of time to snuggle and cuddle with Sassy and Dallas, and then I will be doing that. This was not meant to be anything about me or Grief Hab, other than this calendar here, which has all of these awareness dates, artwork created by kids dealing with loss. Some of the speakers, kids. Tomorrow we have Angela Germano speaking. Her daughter, Callie Wilson, drove this in memory of my great grandma Willie. As a little girl, my mom called her that because she had a white bunny named Willie. Artwork by Callie Wilson. These pictures are, how kids are turning their grief into art. We have two people speaking tomorrow about healing through art, healing through the arts, different ways that we can move through our grief by turning to different creative outlets. We've had speakers talk about that. All of the different awareness days that the world doesn't acknowledge, all of the populations that the world does not acknowledge. It's not only about the dates and hanging it on the wall. It's about what we can do with that awareness. I have a client who does not have the money for headstones and memorial benches. And so what else does Grief Hab do? Grief Hab is rehab for grief. I do not just work with my clients. I do all of the things that I struggled with. I said I needed rehab for grief. I provide it. I help with death certificates. I help find something in your area that you can't find. I don't just get a recipe list or a nutritionist. I find that person who will go to the store, get the groceries, make the food. So all you have to do is open up the refrigerator and eat a protein ball, because cooking or thinking about cooking or thinking about what to eat is too much. Decisions are too much in grief. So any and everything. I've had clients on the side of the road with flat tires, not being able to figure out how to call AAA because our brains don't work the same way. Again, they recover, but certainly in the deep stages of grief, doing those things are too much. But calling me, they can do that, and I can do those things for them. Rehab for grief. We have rehab for everything else. If you want to donate to Grief Hab, I help pay for those memorial benches and those headstones. You can donate to a specific person. You can pay for that particular bench. You can pay for someone's services who cannot afford to work with me. Grief Hab is hiring. We have in Western Michigan specifically, someone reached out that they need help in their hospice program. And do I have people in that area that work the way I work and treat people in a heart-centered, client-centered manner? You can come to me for help staffing. You can come to me for help finding. You can come to me for help, but you can also donate to help others. You can find those links and codes during the event. I was not planning to make it that way, but people are reaching out saying, how can I help others? And we had Giving Tuesday in November, and I shared NAMI and ways to help others dealing with mental illness and grief. But if you want to help Grief Hab help others directly, and if you would like to be a part of Grief Hab, please reach out. We are already getting applications for speakers and sponsors for 2024. We have schools that want us to do this there, and speakers today. I have 3, I believe, from Colorado speaking, and we'll be talking about the difference in mental health care in Colorado, as opposed to what I've experienced in Michigan, what I know it's like with people I work with in other places. So I am going to post as soon as I end this, but I'm going to give you today's lineup here as well. We have Doug Cornfield and Dave Clark, who Dave Stevens spoke the other day. They are part of the disability camps that he mentioned. We have Jill McLennan. They also have a podcast of pulling each other along. It's amazing. Stories are amazing. Jill McLennan is talking about approaching death and a death doula and things we can do to become more comfortable with the death process, and whether it's us or someone in our life, when it's not unexpected and when we know it's coming. Shalini Brault is part of Ruthless in the Rockies. She does all different types of energy healing, sound healing. I don't know her exact talk today, but it's going to be magical if you can be there live on Zoom for the virtual experience. There's nothing like being in her energy. Of course, you can see it in the library through March, up until March, maybe longer. Who knows what I'll do with this event, but she is unlike any other. Magical. Susan Snow ending the day at 4 p.m. Her talk is called The Other Side of the Gun. We will be talking about Colorado and what it is like here. We have Amanda Blackwood talking about undeniable connections, trauma, grief, and growth. We have Matt, I always forget, Matt Bradley talking about sons. His podcast is called Sons Without Fathers, I believe. I apologize. Some people I'm connecting with very, very recently. I might be forgetting someone in between. I will post this as soon as I'm done. Faces of Grief. Again, Grief Hab is hiring. If you want to be a part and you are not licensed as a therapist, you can still, life experience matters. you can be in this community and still be a part. If you are a licensed therapist and you want to be a part, please reach out. If you want to be a part of Faces of Grief, if you want to share this event, there are people grieving, struggling every day of the year. Please let someone know. The calendar is reaching people. Let people know. We don't know who might share it. If you want to sponsor the book, if you want to write a chapter, if you know someone who might, healing happens in so many different ways. And so many people have talked about how writing has been a huge, huge part. I write letters to Jim every single day. Even now through this event, when they're a little bit shorter, it's a way to connect with him. Team Ruthless, I haven't talked a lot about, but I will. We met last night. Even after a long day, it is my way to not just give back and help others. It is my way to get through this life without Jim physically here. We don't just talk on Wednesdays and Saturdays and holidays. We have chats on the phone and on Messenger and text. We cry, we laugh, we have each other, and we've talked about community, and healing together through the holidays is one. Grief Hab is one. If it's your church, if it's one of the speakers you're connecting with, if you're watching at 3 a.m. in bed and you're feeling completely alone, I know connecting at first is so hard. You are not alone. Observe like a fly on the wall. Join one of these communities. Find your tribe. Please do not suffer silently alone, especially during the holidays, but any day of the year. Thank you for being a part of my journey and supporting me compassionately as I learn through my first huge event like this. Some people have expected a spotlight and a stage and a standing ovation, and I have so many more people who see the huge mission, because this is not about me or even Grief Hab. It is about Grief Hab helping and reaching more people so that you can get the help you need today, not tomorrow. I People have talked about calling places and not getting calls back, or joining a group and having it not run by somebody who's experienced a loss, or having to wait until a group started at week 1 again. And I promise, if you're calling me today, I will get back to you today, even if it isn't until 5 o'clock when this day ends. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yes, this is day 6. I had to count on my fingers like a child because I'm a little bit sleep deprived and I haven't been eating like I should, even though I'm telling all of you to. Doing this is a lot, but it is important. And this is day 6 of National Grief Awareness Week. And it ends tomorrow, but I will not stop talking about it. I will not stop sharing it. I will not stop asking you to, because the world needs to know so that you can show up as yourself wherever you're going today. And if you need to cry, then you can, and you do not have to be afraid of being fired or judged or being anything other than human. I've cried during almost every talk, and the ones I haven't, it's only because I either was out of tears or I simply wasn't awake, or I just was out of tears. It's an emotional thing, and we're human, and not feeling those emotions and forcing them away is what's worse, and it shows up somewhere else. So thank you to everyone supporting in me. Marissa Cohen spoke to End yesterday, and she shared a picture of me and thanked me for having this event, and so many of the speakers have done that. And thank you all for being a part of this, and for seeing the need, and for seeing the need to have these conversations at home, in schools, in the world, in the workplace. If you are a business owner and you want these calendars, if you want to bring me or someone like me in to support your staff and team when they go through a loss, or even when they don't, just to prepare for it. Now is the time. We're going into 2024. You can be the change. You can be part of the future and lead the way so that other people know how. We'll make mistakes. it's okay. It's better to do it and take action and do it some way than not do it and have people in the bathrooms, in their cars, and calling in sick on the phone with me because they are afraid of being human in public. Thank you so much for being a part of this world. I will see you in Healing Together through the holidays.